Good evening, everyone. Good evening. One of the other things that we do right now, we ensure that we give you an introduction of one of our charter members at an event like this. This helps you to ensure that you know what is the kind of people that TIE has available that you can tap into. Today, we have Vaibhav Tumkudwar. Vaibhav is the founder and CEO of Better, which is a unique micro-venture firm based in Silicon Valley in India, where startups, early stage startups are incubated and invested into. The specialities of Better is in product design, building early stage startups to revenue, creating a responsibility based on management, less culture, demand generation marketing strategies, building and managing cross-border global teams, automation of everything so that things run on their own, search engine optimization, social media optimization. So incidentally, we also have the benefit and the advantage that Vaibhav is also the facilitator for today's session. So you are actually physically out here in person. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Vaibhav on the stage. Vaibhav, welcome.
As we get started, I think I'm not going to steal anything from the story by giving you an introduction, so we can really walk through the story. But I think what will be helpful is to know who's in the audience today. So can we have everybody raise up their hands who are either running a company or at early stages of a company right now? Excellent. So that kind of gives you a perspective. So I think with that, let's get started. I had a chance to chat with Harish over the weekend, so we kind of figured out how we want to kind of make this very interactive and useful for everyone, especially all the learnings. So I think Harish, I think the best is to start with like a literally 2-minute introduction of what you're doing right now, and then we kind of do a quick flashback.
Great. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. Great opportunity to meet the charter members here and other members. Thanks. Currently, I'm working on 2 projects, and both of them happen to be in India, which keeps bringing me back to India every other month, so a lot of travel. One is the education company in Hyderabad. It's a schools that serve the low-income communities. These are low-cost private schools. We charge about 12 to 1,500 rupees per month average fee. We're really trying to figure out on how to improve the quality and the kind of people we're to attract. Really just trying to figure out how to improve the quality at this price point. And there are a lot of private schools, a lot of people who are trying to do good things, but just haven't been able to execute. So one thing we've focused on is really bringing a very solid team. So my partner is a young guy from IIT Bombay, with a master's at Georgia Tech, and then worked with me at the NBFC, where we both met, and very passionate about education. A young guy, so we got him to run the company. I mentor him, work with him. That's one project. Second one, which sort of launched about a year ago, is I spend more time in India, and coming in and out, get very frustrated, especially with the traffic situation. And I would started noticing that I started behaving the same way. Things I would never think about doing in the US, like go on the wrong side of the road. Thought about doing it here or parking illegally. And I thought it was more sort of the mindset that we sort of adopt and you have to do it, everyone else is doing it, so we'll do it as well. So I guess it's for self-policing. We developed an app which you can actually record as a citizen and upload it, and any violation that you see anyone else doing. And then we started noticing there's so many other apps that are coming out. So there's an app for women's safety, there's an app for potholes, where someone's throwing garbage, traffic. And we said, I can't remember all these apps, and much less even download them and remember when to use them. So we consolidate everything in one app. And the way we developed it is hosted on Amazon, so it's global. You can use it anywhere, upload it anywhere. So those are 2 projects. And then the second project, I'm working with a charter member from Atlanta, IIT Chennai graduate, had a successful healthcare company which he sold a couple of years ago. So he's very passionate about this, and we're doing this together.
Excellent, excellent. So I think with that, let's kind of go back to some very interesting stories Harish has for us today. So I want to really go back to your growing up days, right? I think you were forced to learn a lot of lessons very, very early in life. This was when you moved to the US and all by yourself, and were supposed to just figure things out. So can you tell us a little bit about that whole incident and how that has shaped some of the thinking that has happened?
Yeah, so I was a fabulous student in India. Not really. I'm my childhood friend here, so I can't even make up any stories today. Not a good student. Had an opportunity through my father to go to the U.S. He had a green card. Went there a couple of times and came back and said, we're not going. And by the time my one foot was already there, mentally I had already moved. And I, persuaded them to let me go. And to their credit, they did. They arranged for me to live with a family member. And I went there, landed on Saturday night. Sunday morning I started working in his motel. And it was great. In India, I never worked before. 6 months later, things quite didn't work out as we had planned, so he asked me to leave. And so I packed up and left. And I had a small VIP red bag that I went there with, packed it and left the house. And I went to a friend of mine. And he ran another motel. So I started helping him. And then the motel that I was running for my uncle, that got sold. So I went to the...
And how old were you?
I was 15 by this time.
15.
So I was in 9th grade when I left. And the night I left, I had $160 in my pocket. So not a lot. I didn't speak much English. So the English is the US, and you can probably hear the southern accent as well. So he was very helpful. I worked with him for 6 months, for a couple months. And the family that bought the motel I went to, I'll work the night shift as long as I have a place to stay. So I worked from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shifts and went to school during the day. So yeah, I just attended because actually you're required to attend, right? The regulations that you can't sit at home. So I would go there, not very focused, struggled along. And then in 11th grade, an American family took me in, literally off the street. So I used to sleep in the car sometime, slums of the US, into the trailer parks, right? So I spent some time there. And some friends' houses, so managed along, but this family just came out of nowhere. They invited me to their house one day, and literally I went from a trailer to the 6,000 square foot house, and they said, "That's your room, bring your stuff." And I said, "Great, it's in the car, I'll be right up." So moved right in, and moved out, and I got married 12 years later. So my wife jokes with them, you better be glad I married him, or he'll still be living with you now. So just amazing people in the way they took care of me without any expectations. A Christian family didn't force me to go to church. They invited me, I would go. I wanted to go. Got very lucky, so that was a turning point for me.
So this is 15 years old, you're all by yourself in a country where you are completely new. What kind of, how did that experience shape you, you think, just looking back? Because I think that's really helpful to understand, the learnings from that time.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little tough, right? But imagine 15 having no supervision and being on your own. So my place was sort of the place all my friends would end up on the weekends. I got to experience the American culture from a very ground level, right? Most people who do go at that level, they have parents, so they don't sort of get the full exposure. Okay. So for me, it was all American friends. I didn't have any Indian friends at that point. And a really great experience. And I sort of got to work, which I thought was the game changer for me. It taught me sort of a lot of lessons up front. So I got to deal with the public. I'd get up in the morning, 2, 3, whenever someone rang the doorbell, rent the room, go back to sleep, interact with the people. I think that interaction really has helped me a lot in my life. So I'd probably give up my master's degree just for that phase, the lessons it taught me, and sort of the ability to sort of interact with people.
It's like a real world experience at that age, right?
And I think that's missing here, right? So when I run these schools, one of the challenges I have is giving these kids that exposure. And not only we don't have these opportunities, but also the parents don't really give us a lot of latitude to do that. But I think if we can do that, so we have marketing, teachers go from marketing door to door to get enrollment for new season. So I ask, take the kids with you. What a great experience, right? People slap door in your face, someone invite you in, but you've got a teacher to support you and be with you. But I haven't gotten takers yet, but I'm going to keep working on it.
Sure, perfect. All right, so I think being in that situation, you obviously got the freedom, which was really good. But it's almost like hopefully